Hello and welcome to my channel, and today we are looking at how to make this little folio. It's a hard cover with a hard spine, and inside I've got a little notebook in a pocket. I've got this little fancy catch, and if we open it here I've got some little specimen slides. This is all using the entomologist digital kit from Janie's Original. So I've got 3 tags and a couple of vellum envelopes. Okay, all printed out onto my inkjet printer, and on some onto card, some onto paper, and like I said, some onto vellum. So we will have a look at how we put this together. I'm using the the entomologist papers from Janie's Originals. I have printed out a load. Some are double-sided, some are on paper, and I have pre-prepped a few things, but we're going to focus first on how to make the actual case, if you like, or the book folio. So this is a piece of paper. It was double-sided. I don't need it to be double-sided per se for this, but this is what I'm going to be using for the cover, and this for the inside. And then the little notebook I double-sided printed on to some 300 GSM card, and I've got some paper already done, but we'll come to that in a bit. So we're going to look at this. Now this was printed with borders. All I've done is I've made sure we can't see the borders here, although it wouldn't make a whole lot of difference. And I use this to work out where I want. I like quite a big overlap on my foldings. So this is 2 centimeters. If you only want one, you can use well, you can do one. I would suggest, and I haven't got them here, so I don't know where they are, having a little set of you know, pieces of card or even mount board, 1 centimeter, 1.5, and 2 centimeters. Then you can use those to work out where the board's going. Now I'm hoping, in the way I've done this, what I did is I started on this side and I worked out where I want this, because this would be the front, and I want that sort of beetle to be kind of the main focal point. So I worked it out on the front with so I could use this. So this is 2 centimeters, and then I've used these. This is a couple of millimeters. This is the same depth as the board. Okay, so you need a hinge gap. So what I've done, I did this in prep. So I put that one there, and that there, and then that one there, and then my other board, and then marked my 2 centimeters. So that's how I've cut my paper out, so I know that it's going to be the right, because we're going to cover this all in one. Quite often we cover this board separate, and then we do a fabric spine, but for this it's more folio. So this is how we're doing it, because I'm not stitching any signatures in. So I am going to cover this. So I'm going to put some, hopefully this will come out, probably not. I'm at the end of this one, so I'm going to pour that into my pot, and we'll use that. Oh, there's a big, that's why it's not coming out. There's a big gloop in there. We'll sit the lid on for now anyway. So we're going to I'm going to get my little, Janie sells all of this stuff. She sells these mats, they're bigger. I accidentally once cut one down. Well, not cut one down. I accidentally cut it, and actually it's worked out quite well because I like having the smaller pieces. So make sure that the glue is covering all. You don't need loads of glue. Oh, let's turn that over. That was nearly an issue. So I'm just going to line that up on the corner because as I just showed you just now, I pre-cut this paper to the right size. So that's there. And I'm just going to turn that over, and then with this, I'm just going to press out to the edges just to make sure that it is all covered. And then we're going to go back. Okay. Now, it's important that things are lined up. So I'm going to get my ruler and place it along the top of this board. I'm going to get this ready because we're going to fit this in, but I need to obviously cover this in glue. So now, as you can see, these are A6 boards. This spine, I've gone for 2.5 centimeters. You could out of an A4 piece, you can get just slightly more, but I've gone for something that I felt was comfortable. If you only used a centimeter on the edges, you'd be able to have a bigger spine. Okay, so I am making sure that everything is lined up. There we go. And I am just going to turn that over again and just make sure that that's nicely done. And then we're going to do the same. So that there, I'm going to need this, and then I need to cover my board with the glue. Remember to not a huge amount of glue. And I always used to put it straight on, but actually I'm finding, squirt the glue on. I'm finding by having it in the tub, I don't overuse the glue, if that makes sense. So we need this space, we need this in, we need to make sure that that's lined up. That's good. Turn that over like so. And if I've done it right, then this one should just sit there. I've got a little bit extra there, but that's okay. Better to have a bit extra than not enough. Okie dokie. So, as we would normally, a bit glue there, but that's not to worry about that. We're going to mitre the corners, and I'm using this little tool here. And now my knife blade I need to have a new one, so I am actually going to draw and cut with a pair of scissors, because what happens if your blade is blunt is that you end up tearing the paper, and that can play around with your little mitering. So for this, because I know my blade is blunt, I'm drawing the lines and cutting them with a pair of scissors. Now this little corner cutter is is for 2mm board. I will use it for 1mm board as well, but it's designed because most of Janie's things are done with a 2mm. So we're going to start with the shorter ends, and we're going to make sure that all the paper is covered in glue, and I do like to just make sure the edge of that board is. And I tell you one thing I've just realized I've not done is pre-folded these over. Let me just get this one stuck down as I've already got the glue on it, and then I'll explain. It does help if you do sort of this action, just makes the paper, the paper's going to go over nicely for you. So let's do this one. Oh, there we go. I've got the glue on. All the glue's all along, and then just a little bit on the edge of the board to make sure. And we'll pull that over. And again, I use this to, I will link all these things over on the video of where you can get them on the site. Now, this one needs to come over. At the moment, we're not going to worry too much about this, but we will. What will happen is we will need to gently push those in when we do the other piece of paper. You can end up with a little tear. We'll see how we go. It's fairly heavy paper, so I'm hoping. In fact, I'm going to do this on here this time because it's quite a long piece and it's harder to hold it straight when you're doing a long bit like that. And then just making sure that this is okay. And then we're just going to fold that over like so. Again, use this to pull it down and make sure. Right, now I've made a big mistake here. I haven't I haven't pressed them in. Now I am wondering if I can just get my underneath just to save this. You may not be able to. Maybe have to do it here. I don't think we're going to be able to up this end. Oh no, maybe. Yes, just about. Okay, right. So, this one's going to be a little bit iffy, but not to worry. So, completely forgot. We need to push these bits round. And the reason we push these bits round, and this one's not going to work so well because we've already glued. So let's get this one glued back down while I've still got a bit of tack on what's there. We'll see if this will work. Get some glue on this paper. Try and get it stuck back down so we can't really see it. So let's, yeah, there we go. I think I've got away with it. Right, so what I'm going to show you is before you fold the other thing, you need to push this little bit here. I do it and then if I show you before, and then if I show you after. Now, it doesn't look like much, but it does make a difference in terms of your corners looking nice and neat. So we kind of got lucky on that I managed to catch that just in time. Always make sure I put glue on those bits I folded over to make sure that they stick folded over. So yeah, I think we got away with that. Oof. Let's pull that in. Okay, I'm going to very gently, once it's stuck, oh no, you need to make sure it's stuck before you do this. I don't think I've got enough glue in this, so bear with me. We're going to just put a bit more glue under here. Just feels like I don't have enough glue. And that's okay. We can deal with it. Okay. I am just going to let oh no, we might be able to. So what I'm going to do is I just want to fold this up, which is giving this bit of paper here a little bit of a dent in it, which is what we need. Okay, so I'm just folding that over and you can see there's now this crease. Okay, so we are if I was now going to do well no, I wouldn't, if I was putting signatures into this, I would need to at some point punch my holes, but we're not going to. Right, so I kind of want this kind of centralized so we get most of this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put that in the middle-ish, and I'm going to just draw around it now and cut it at that. This will obviously be too big, but it gives us the starting point of how we can then just trim it down to where I want it to be. But at least it means we're working with the central bit, we're not working from a corner. So you see what I mean? It's kind of more all of it rather than an edge like these. Okay, so I put that here. In fact, I quite like the idea of having this in the middle. So if we use that as our guide there, and about there, and I am cutting it quite close to the edge because a little bit does need to go into there, and I don't want to lose too much length. As long as you don't cut it longer than, because that will not work. Okay, so my printer is just a Canon Pixma. I print on standard. It works for me. I think the only thing I'd say that maybe doesn't quite work with printing is that the ink will run if you're going to put lots of stuff on. That would be my only thing. Now I'm just going to slightly so I know where the middle is, like so. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I am just going to flip it that way, and I am going to, no I'm not, because I'm going to put the glue on here. So I'm going to put, not right to the top, I can always add a little bit underneath if I need to, but all the way down this spine, just on the spine for the moment. Okay. So a little bit more. I don't want to make it too wet, because what I don't want is when I'm trying to ease the paper into these gaps, I don't want it getting soggy and ripping. So I give myself all I can see there with there. So I'm just going to place that down, and then I'm going to make sure that it is completely glued. And then now you do need to be gentle with this, because if you're too harsh, you will split the paper. So I'm just going to start with the end of this. This is my friction pen. Okay, and it's a very rounded pen, and I'm just easing that in to that gap so that we know we've got a little bit that is going to we'll go into our little thing. Now this is where it does get a little bit as to whether you've got the right amount or not, because we want this to go in, and that's why I keep doing that, just giving it that like this. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the glue on here. Make sure it's on that main part. You can always add more around the edges if you haven't quite got to the edges. So again, I'm going to ease that into here, and I'm going to take the rounded end of my, oh, I've got some glue on it, of my ruler, and just gently push that in and then pull this out like so. And like I said, if you find you haven't got enough glue around the edges, you can go back. And I'm going to let that dry before I start trying to fold it up. So again, I'm going to give this a nice burnish in. Make sure you use something very, very rounded, very, very soft, because you don't want to push that and the paper to actually split. So I'm going to lift this up, and I'm going to put glue. Trying to make sure my glue is going right up to the edge, otherwise we'll get a funny little bubble right up to the edge. And then in the middle. I prefer a hard spatula to a brush, but you can use a brush. The reason is because I forget about cleaning them, and with these kind of spatulas, it's okay, because what will happen is just remember pushing that in gently and then bringing this across. It will just dry on the spatula and I can peel it off. If that was a brush, it dried on the brush, then we would end up with unfortunately a ruined brush. Yes, that's why I prefer those. Keep that there for the moment. So I'm just going to give that a second. So that's our cover. And I'm just going to, there we go. So we've now got our cover. You can see we've got our hinge gap there. You need that hinge gap for, if you put the spine board straight against the cover board, it wouldn't fold over. So now I've got my cover. Okay, so that for the moment can go to one side, but we've given it that nice little bit of muscle memory. And yeah, so there we go with that. Now, we are going to make a little A7 booklet, the A7 booklet to go in, and I think I want it on this side. So we will put the pocket on. I have used, this is 300 GSM card. This goes through my printer, double-sided. My printer will do double-sided, but I tend to, with the card, because I feed it from the back, I put it through once, turn it over, and then put it through the second time. So what I want to do is to decide. Now this is a different way of working out the cover, just because I have some coffee stained cartridge paper and I've cut it down to A7. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So 8 A7s, which would be 4, 2 A5s, 4 A6s, there. One sheet. I don't know. I can't. You say, well, why didn't you know that? Because actually, they were already cut. I've always got bits of coffee stain paper cut. Now, if I cut, which I could cut a straight A6 cover. I would run the risk of it not of these hanging out the edge, and I'm not. I don't really want that. So what I'm doing is I am making sure that I've got enough room in there. I'm folding it over, and so I might give myself a little bit extra, because sometimes when you fold these things, they don't quite go, because I can always trim that off. And I want it the height of just checking what I've got. Yeah, so we've got that. Right, so now I want to be careful how I cut this, because I want to use what I've got left as the pockets, rather than printing anymore. When you print, you want to try and be, did I make my mark with that? I want to try and be as economical. You know, I have printed out everything, but if you're doing a project, you don't necessarily want to print everything out. Oh yes. Oh, golly me, that was good. Even if I say so myself. So I'm just going to find the halfway mark. And then I'm just going to use my little scoreboard. That's my halfway mark, just to give it a good score, like so, on that. Okay, and check that that fits. Now you see, having given myself that little bit extra was absolutely what I needed. So although if you remember, I put it there, I rolled it over, oops, and I had this, you can see that actually once I've scored it and folded it, it fits nicely, and I quite like that. That sits quite nicely on the front there. So we're going to do just a very simple 3-hole pamphlet stitch. I've got the A5 piercing ruler, and I'm just going to use that. So all I'm doing is I'm working out where my middle is on my so what I can see is that where I've got the 2 5 marks, the outside of the little sort of U bit would be the edge. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use a dry white mark. So obviously we want the 0, we want to do 0. And then we're going to do it at 4 and 4 this side. So those are what I'm going to punch. But also I need to mark the edge so that when I put it into my piercing cradle, I know where to line it up. So I'll see if that makes sense to you. So I'll line up the edges there, pierce those holes, and we should be okay. So I'm going to do all my pages in one go. And put my ruler in. You see I've got the 2 end lines on the end of my signatures, pretty much. And then I'm taking my awl and I'm piercing down number 4 there, 0 there, and number 4 there. Okay. And then I'm going to take my thing, which is slightly larger. So I'm just making sure that my lines, the lines that I did for the edges of my signatures is just on the inside of the thing. So it should still line up. So I've got my 0, my 4, and my 4. Okay. So that's my little book. Just wipe that off. That's why we use a dry wipe. Back. And now I just realised I haven't yet got some thread out. So I will be back with the thread. Okay, so I've got my thread, and I'm just trying to see if I've got one of these. These you can buy from Janie's Originals. I'm not sure what I might use. Just trying to look at what's we've got with this as well. Maybe that one, or maybe that one. Actually, I think this one, this yellowy one is what I'm going to use. I don't need much. So I'm just going to think, oh, you probably need about twice the height, but I'm just going to go a little bit more, like so. Got that. Whoop. So it's dropped on the floor out of my box. And now this is embroidery floss. It's not waxed, but so I am going to wax it. And again, you can get the wax from Janie. I'm going to sneeze, so please excuse me for a minute. Bless me. Right, so we are going to pull the wax. I'm just holding it with my thumb. Pull the wax through 3, maybe 4 times. Let's do 4. Should be able to hear it squeak. I don't know if the microphone picked that up, but it definitely squeaked. I'm just turning it around because obviously I held it here. I do need this end to be waxed as well. There we go. There we go. So this is a simple 3-hole pamphlet stitch. And just get my needle out. I've got to get my... If you don't have a needle keeper, all it is a magnet, but you can get some really pretty ones from Enchanted Needle. I will link her in. This one didn't come from her, but she has some very lovely ones as well. So it's just a magnet, and it means I can just put my needle on it, and I'm not going to lose it. So I'm just going to thread my needle, pull that through. Okay, so easy 3-hole pamphlet through the middle, leave an end, and then we're coming back in through this one. My holes are lining up quite nicely. That might be speaking too soon. No, they're all lining up. Yeah, so we went out through the middle one, back in through this one, straight across, missing this one to the end, like so, and then we're coming back in this one. Now, the only thing you've got to watch out at this point is to try not to split your thread. And I think we've managed to do that. Okay. The only reason for that is it will be difficult to pull to get your tension. So I pulled to get my tension on the outside. I've got one piece of the thread either side of that middle one. And then I'm just going to tie little double knot. And again, I'm saying I because this is how I do it. And then I always tend to cut it the length of the stitch in case I decide at some point to want to tuck it back under. So I think I did about 2.5. Give yourself a little bit of grace on that. So that is my little booklet. Now it's a little bit gappy at the moment. So in a moment I've got I do know what they're called, but my brain's gone. It was my nan's, and as growing up as a child, it was a doorstop at my nan's, but and I quite like it. So it will sit under there for probably with a bit of paper under it. But for now, but before I do that, really, I just need to use it to measure my pocket. Right, so my pocket, I want to be the whole of this. Okay. But I'm not just going to cut it that width because I need to give it some depth to fit this in. Okay, so I'm just trying to decide, do I want actually to use a bit that matches my thing? Do I? Maybe this bit. Is that going to be big enough though? Yeah. I think maybe we'll use this bit to make, and I want it deep enough that this isn't going to flap around or fall out. I need to give it a bit of a gusset. In fact, I'm going to use that whole piece there. So it's basically the rest of the bit that I used from the I'm actually making the booklet. Oh, gosh. I have a very big desk. I've also now, over since Christmas, got myself a couple of those trolleys, and that's made my life so much easier because I have to this side, I have a whole one of those IKEA Kallax units with loads of stuff in that I can just reach. But there was so much other stuff that was somewhere else. So I've now got these 2 little rolling trolleys and I can just pull them up and push them away. Made my life so much better. Right, so what I'm going to do is I'm trying to say this is inches, centimeters down the bottom. I am ooh, do I use centimeters? Yes. Yeah. I'm not. I'm going to use the inches. I'm not even really measuring it. It's just so that I know that I've got a bit of a gusset, a bit of a bit to fold over. So I reckon if I did 3 marks there, and then 1, 2, 3 marks there. Yeah. I'm just going to do that down there. And that down there. And I'm going to do it so I did 3 marks. So it's basically 3/8 of an inch, which in centimetres would be centimetre. There you go. A centimetre. Roughly. Some of these little boards are not necessarily as accurate. But yeah, so roughly a centimetre. And I am just going to fold it and press it down. I think it's, when you're putting big things in pockets, when I do a lot of pockets, and they tend to be just paper, which is fine, until you're trying to put something a little bit more, oh, that's what I didn't measure. I didn't measure to see if it would fit there. It does just, yes. Whew. Okay. And that will then sit in there like that. Okay. And definitely use card because it's going to be going in. So what I'm doing is I'm just cutting out. Well, you need to get rid of the little squares at the corners, but I'm also kind of just doing a little bit of a cross like that. So when you do that, then they should sit nicely like that. So I'm just going to do. I'm not measuring it. Just going to cut across like that. So that will sit. That will sit there like that. For our little booklet. Now you can see as I'm not pushing it flat down, I'm pushing it slightly in to get a raised a little domed area, you see, so that there is the room. Also, because I need to make sure it fits, so I'm going to use some more of my glue. So this is the paper bindery glue, which is what I use on the book, the cover as well. If you're sticking other things on, you might want to use the matte collage glue because it doesn't, because you might add a bit of lace or something. It doesn't sort of shine through then. This dries with a kind of a shiny finish, whereas the matte glue does what it says. It finishes with a nice matte finish. So see a bit of extra glue there. So I'm going to stick this down. Make sure we've got it there. Make sure we've got it there. Okay. And I am going to put my book under my this is something if you're watching, you're probably going, it's blah blah blah, Carol. For whatever reason, my brain is not dealing with it. Okay, so this should then fit nicely in there. Brilliant. Okay, so having that nice little rounded bit means you're not trying to force it open. So that's this side of my little folio. Okay. I might add some more decoration to the outside yet. We'll see. But over here, what are we going to do over here? With the entomology, let's get rid of my needle now before that disappears under a whole load of things on my desk. With the entomology thing, it's very much museum-y, sort of specimen-y sort of focus. So it comes with some bits and pieces, so tags. Now I'll explain how the different way I've done those. It comes with some of these little things, and I have cut those out. Some more bits, like some more labels like that. I'm just going to try and find, there's a particular sheet that I want. Okay, so we've got, in fact, there's two. There's this sheet and there's this sheet, which have all sorts of labels and things for you to put on to various things. So what I want here, I kind of would like, I think, don't know, maybe a pocket there, and then maybe a little tuck spot here. Maybe even a flap that comes out. Yes. I mean, you've seen the start of the video and you've seen how it finishes. At the moment, I'm still making it. So I'm still making that decision. So I'm wondering, because I don't really, this is literally one piece of card that I printed double-sided. I don't want to end up having to make lots, print more card. So I am thinking carefully about what I'm doing. So I'm wondering about fold out here. I don't know. You know what I've already decided. I don't at the moment. I can't make up my mind quite what to do. Whether to just go with another pocket. Another pocket. Because I want something. If I have a pocket and then I could clip a few things on. So maybe I have. Ah, okay. I'm having like a funny thought now. If I kind of made, without cutting this, made this into a pocket like that one, but then also have this bit that folds over the top. We have room because we made our spine. We have room. The little booklet will sit in there, but we have room here. So I think that might be. So I'm going to have to work out the measurements of how I'm going to do that. So I will. Oh, should I keep doing it? I'll just do it on screen. Let's see. So first thing we need is a we'll go with the same as we did before, the centimeter, which was, excuse me, what's that? Probably some chocolate from at some point. So I am going to mark that there, score that there. Okay, because that's going to be that end there. Whether we just then stick that in, we've got a little bit of room there. Need to do sort of three. I don't know how I'm going to do this because it's quite long, and I've only got my small scoreboard out. I kind of want that all the way down. Stick that in like so. Because that's, I'm just going to fold that like so. So I am literally making this up as I go along. So we'll see where we go. So this is going to be that end of the pocket. Now, can I find a way of putting a little gusset on that? Maybe. Right, so we need, this needs to be like the edge of, so I need that to be through in. So we are fiddling and faffing here. So what I've done is I've made the mark as to where the other end of this needs to be, and I want to try and make another like the gussety bit. So I'm just trying to force this. And no, that will be fine. Right. Okay. So that bit there. Oh, this might just do it. Right. So that's where I've got my thing. So I think this bit will need to come off. I'm not going to take it off for the moment. I'm going to put in. I'm not measuring this. I'm just kind of eyeballing it. We're going to go just a little bit further along from that, and hoping that that will fold back over, which it does. Okay. Right, so we are going to have to cut this, otherwise I'm not going to be able to get it to stick. So I need to cut there and there. And then I need to cut all of this. Up there. That will be the pocket. That will be my fold over. And I can have, need a little brad, I think. I saw someone do a little closure where you had the closure here, but then the actual closure bit actually moved off. So I'm going to have a think about that. I might have to have a little bit of a break to go and think about that. But I think this will work. Maybe. Yeah, I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to go off and have a little think about what I want to, how I want to actually use this, and then I will be back. Okay, I am back, and I think I've worked out how I want to do it. So I've actually cut the pocket off. So the pocket is going to be here, so I can put things in the pocket. Now, this is the other bit. So this is going to stick up here. And this will be the flap. I haven't yet cut it down to size. And the mechanism for holding this down is like this. So let me wind back a bit. On the as part of the thing, the kit, you get these printed like this. Okay. Now I did some onto card, and I actually used, I think, oh, let me measure it. Yeah, this is my 1.5-inch punch, and I've printed them double-sided, or some of them I printed double-sided. Well, I did print them double-sided. Yeah. I used my 1.5-inch thing to punch them out. So I thought, actually, I could use one of these. I don't know which one. Maybe the one with the writing on. And then these bits are, again, from where I printed these tags and things double-sided. I will make them rounded ended. So, but it would work like this. So that the circle, you'd get a brad through them. The circle will be glued down, and then this will go round to hold that down. I might even use a few, might not use these, but I might cut a few more out of a piece of card just to layer this up a little bit, so that this then sits over the top. So that's where we're going. So let's work on that. Well, you're good at keyboard. Sorry, I've got things all around me. So I've got a bit here. This is where I keep sort of random bits of card. So I'm going to use my punch to punch out. Oh, let's see how many we can get. 1, 2, 3. And one of those will go on the top, and I might even I'll give it a bit of ink on the edges, like so. Definitely. Right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to glue them together. In fact, I am probably going to use my little just glue thing rather than the so if I can get it out. This isn't a reflection on the glue, it's a reflection of my poor cleaning up habits, so that's not going to work. Bear with me a moment, let's get another glue out. I might actually use the matte collage glue because any sort of leakage will just sort of disappear. It won't sort of shine. And so I am going, oh, that's 3, and then some on the top, like so. That's that. While that's drying, I'm going to stick these down as well. I might just use this glue as I've got it out. Like so. So it's another pocket here. Again, give it a little bit of a rounding there. I might just borrow my there for a minute. Just for that first grip. While that's doing that, I'm going to wait and see how long I want that. That's that one. You know what I didn't do? Can I get it in just... Oh, okay, let's quickly do that. I meant to get that in, and I also realized now I've not cut it to the length I want, but that's, we'll deal with that. So that's going to go in there. Let's just put that on there as well for the minute. Flat iron. Flat iron? I think that's what it's called. Flat iron, just to give that a bit of grip. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to mark off where I want that to be cut, which will be there. Oh, let's put the lid back on this glue before this one ends up like all the others. There we go. See if I can just get underneath to see. Yeah, so that's where I want that cut. And I should be able to just get that into my guillotine. Reasonably straight line. Okay, so that's going there. You can see where I folded it over, I've got a bit of that glue, but we're okay. So this is going to go here, and this is going to go again. Let's just see. I need to put a hole in the middle, as much as in the middle of the can. So all I'm going to do is I'm just going to punch a paper circle out, same size, and just fold it in half and then in half the other way. Doesn't matter if you don't get it exact, but it gives you your guide for where the center is. And then I'm just going to take my that's not my, oh, that's a there's an old boot hook that just happens to be in with all my other stuff. And then I'm just going to push through. Okay, so we've got that hole. Right, so where should we put it? Here, I think we'll put it at this end. So I do want it to be quite long. So if I cut it off about there, then I've got my corner edge here. We're gonna cut the corners. This is very old, this one. My oh, hello, no. My circle punches are much, oh dear, I don't know what quite happened. Now let's go back in and do up view. Something's not working right with my little corner puncher here. Don't know why this one is not punching correctly. There we go there, and let's turn it over that way. And there we go there. No, for whatever reason, that one does not want to punch right. How bizarre is that? So we're just gonna, because I don't want to keep losing any more, we'll go with it like that. I am just going to with a bit of a ink, and then I'm gonna there. Oh, and I'm wondering, do I need more than just one bit there? Does it need to be a thicker piece of card? Ah, okay. Can you see my dilemma? It is kind of holding it. I suppose it's enough. It's enough to hold it, do you reckon? I'm thinking maybe it needs some more underneath. Okay, so I've got 3 layers at the moment, and all I've done each time, this is the last one, and I've done, save this one to last because it's double-sided, just in case you see the other side. So I've put glue on there, I put that on there, stuck it, and then I've cut it with scissors, and I just think this will be a little bit more sturdy to hold the flap down. We'll see in a minute. Yes, see, that's got a little bit more oomph to it. So what I'm going to do is going to get this back. I'm happy with where that is positioned. I'm going to go through that way. So somewhere I'm hoping my rad is long enough. I've got a little yellow because I thought that went better. But might need to make the hole a bit bigger. Need to make the hole a bit bigger, but that's okay. That's no biggie. Yeah, that. You might need to make this hole a little bit bigger too. There. And then for that one side is just a little shorter than the other, but it will do. So that is going to sit there, and we'll do that so that will open, and we'll also have the top of the pocket there. Now I'm liking that. Right, I do need to get some more ink on this. I am, as you can see on my desk, slowly starting to work in an ever decreasing circles. So what we're going to do is we're going to put the glue on here, and it's going to sit. I want the writing on that circle to be up the right way. Comme ça. Excellent. That's so much better. Right, so Okie dokie. So far, this is where we're at. Still haven't managed to press my, see, it's still going up, but with a little bit of muscle memory, this hopefully will stay down more. But at least, well, yeah, we need this to stick more as well. But if I put the thing on there for a minute, that's the bit we want to stick. Right, I'm going to have a little quick tidy up, and then I will be back and we will look at the next bit of adding some little bits and pieces into this. I've done a load of fussy cutting and sorting, and I've kind of think almost there now. Now, this was the little bit that was left over from when I cut the flap off, and I wish I'd left it on now, because I could have just folded it back for a pocket, but now I'm going to have to stick it back on to make a pocket. But that, that's okay. We live and learn. So next time I would just leave it on, and then I could have, like I said, just so this one's going to be a smaller pocket. I am still going to try and give it a little bit of height, because I want to put these 3 specimen things in there. So I'm going to put, where's my collage glue? I'm going to have it this way, so I want the glue there. Actually, I might put it there. So that's a good job I didn't put the glue on straight away then. There, on there. So this thing, you can sit and think about this all you like. And then you still get to the point where you're like, oh, well, if I just do that. Okay, so that's where that's going to go. And that will be for those, which I'll do in a moment. Now, the thing with these, you can see I've got some here. You can see they're quite plain. Now, this was an accident. I'm not going to say I did it deliberately, but when I was doing my double-sided, I forgot to turn the paper over, and then I ended up printing a paper over the top of these, and I quite liked it. I did it with some of the the tags as well, but I didn't, I'm not using those. So that's going to go in there. We'll do those shortly. But I have got a few things just to add on here for a little bit more decoration. So let's add those now. There. And then one up here. Whoops. It's a bit across because otherwise it's on the bend on the fold. Could do with a smaller little nozzle thing for this, but that's okay. We're just going to keep going. Let's put a few. There was one more. I thought I had one more. It will turn up in a minute. The little blue one. I'm not sure where that's gone, but that's okay. It will be somewhere, and if not, I'll cut another one because it does need a third one on there. So that will be for those. I cut out these field notes. Again, from this is all in the kit, so I'm putting that one actually onto the book, and then I've just got a couple more things I've cut out to go down here. I think I'll do like so. And then this one here. Oh, there it is. There's the other little blue one. I said it would appear. I have inked a lot of this stuff as well. Just to turn it down a bit. I thought we'd put that specimen on there. And then those on like that. So might actually add something else on there as well, like figure, because I've kind of gone over that word specimen now. And I might get one of those things that says figure or just the number. What should I go with? Figure or a number? Let's just put a number on there. Let's do that. Let's do that one. It's a bit of a ink on. I'm not bothered if the ink goes elsewhere as well. So there we go. So that's that. Got some of the tags. Again, I've fussy cut a few things out. I say if you love fussy cutting, this is the kit for you. So I will there, I think. And then I've got the specimen thing to go on the back, just to add a little bit of interest. But what I will also do when I turn it over is just add a little bit of ink like that, so that those wings disappear, and then stick one of these on the back as well. Yet to punch the holes to do the tags, but the tags will go in here. Let's do this one. And some twine, I think, to go for the tags. So, and then this one. I don't mind fussy cutting, but I haven't got the patience to do all the little nooks and crannies. So you might notice that a lot of these don't have any antennae, because I don't have that kind of patience. And again, oops, we'll just do a little bit of on the back, and one of these on the back. So, second tag, this is the third one. I have no idea if the wording and the actual thing like marry up, but hey, I'm not gonna let that get in the way. So right, so those three need a hole in them. 1, 2, 3. There's 3. Hole in them. So they need stuff. Right, so now it's just these. So I've got acetate for these, so I'm just going to stick the acetate pieces on before I start. I've pre-cut these, save time. That's one, let that dry for a bit. Oh, that's my other little butterfly. Let's just, ooh, too much glue, far too much glue, but not to worry, we'll deal with that. There you go, that's that one on there. Let's get the acetate on. So sorry, I've gone a bit quiet there. I was just having a slight thought about something. Oh, no, get back on. Get back on. Get back on. So, and one more of those with the acetate. So like I say, all these bits and pieces come with the kit. I would suggest printing, not with the kit, with the in the pack, the paper designs. I would suggest printing some of this onto card, definitely onto card. Now the other thing I then cut out is 3 of these, 3 butterflies, and I think I've got some little circular bits of info. I was thinking of putting the big number on the back of each, and then these on the front. So one each of these on the front. So let's get those stuck on. I have just suddenly thought, how am I going to stick this to the, actually stick it into the thing? I think what I'm going to do is some small bits still of the card. I've double-sided card. I'm thinking I stuck that across, and then the number just sits on that, on the back. Yeah, I think we'll do that, because otherwise I'm just thinking I'm not sure how to actually get those to sit in there. Right, let's glue that on there and there. Can always cut any excess off. Right, do that with the others as well. So, and one more. Have I done that the right way around? I have, haven't I? Yes. Yes. A lot of glue there, not to worry. Right, like so. You know what I didn't do? Right, okay, I'm going to see if I can slide the number in the back of that. So, yes. There's the other numbers. Let's just slide those in the back as well with a bit of glue. That's right. Okay, so now, there you go, I'll cut that off afterwards. Right, now let's put these on. Okay, I think it's finished now. A few things I would definitely do differently. So I'm happy with the field notes, the little booklet. Quite happy with that and the pocket. I probably wouldn't put these in here. It's made this a little bit high, but at least this keeps it down. So that I think was definitely a good idea. Tags I'm happy with. So I've got those. And then got the things on the back. So those I'm quite happy with. These, yes, remains to be seen. I'm not sure if this glue is now going to dry in there. And if it does, it's fine. I don't mind that kind of misty, murky kind of bit around the edge because it might kind of makes them look old. Just slightly concerned it might not dry. I think the red liner tape would have been better, but I do like the way they look. So yeah, so a few things that I would possibly change on that, and so yeah, thank you for joining me on this one. It's been a bit of a journey because I kind of, knew kind of what I wanted, and then had to make some decisions along the way. I might put a bit of sari ribbon around it just to hold it together, but other than that, it's all good. Thank you very much for joining, and I will see you again soon. One thing I didn't show in the main video, because actually I only made the decision to do it after, is I made some vellum envelopes. So I printed from the digital collection onto the vellum. This is how it comes out. This is not the same collection, but that's how it comes out. Took off the white edges, and because it was a directional print, I decided to cut it into 3 strips along. Then I got my book and I wanted them, I put them in here. So as you can see, these are what I made. So I kind of just eyeballed how big I wanted them. I folded it a little bit over the top just to give that a bit of extra strength, and then folded this bit over, and it was like, right, yeah, that'll work. Okay, the next thing, just to give it a bit of strength, I used my school board, and I think I scored it just like 1/4 of an inch in on both sides. This is again just to give it a little bit of strength. So then pull these up like this, not worrying about the extra bulk there. It's fine, it doesn't make too much of an issue. Then corner rounder just on the top here, like so. Little snip there to separate that bit off because this is different part. And then with my glue, I glued that down. So this is part of the sort of flap. So those get glued separately. So they get glued down. And then these ones, I put glue on the top here and on the top here. And then make sure I got it down. And then fold. Oh, that one's not stuck. Let's just get my thing to stick it down a bit better. And then fold this one up like so, and then give that a nice burnish like so. And that's it. That's all you need to do. So that one can go in now with the others. It's that simple. Okay.